Hello, I'm here today to talk about assessments and how you give them. We have assessments from Jump with Joey onwards. They're really meant for kids from the age of about 6 upwards. Now these assessments, they're not placement tests, they're not to see what level the child's at and put them in. Assessments are assessing how much the child knows. And these assessments are given 4 times a year. Assessments are for a few reasons. When you give an assessment, you will see 2 things. Firstly, how much the child knows, and secondly, how good you are as a teacher. How would you know that? Well, if all the children do really well, that's fine. If one does far less well and all the rest do well, okay. If 2 out of your 8 don't do so well and all the rest do really well, great. But if you see a general tendency of all the kids really not knowing and not being able to do the assessment, you need to look at yourself. There's a problem there. It's unlikely the whole group wasn't good. So assessments have 2 things: how well the kids learned and how well we actually taught the material. Having said that, we do it only from Jump with Joey onwards because we think the kids, when they're younger, it's not really relevant. And our 4 assessments come afterwards with 4 letters to the parents, explaining how well the kid did in the assessment, what they've learned in that unit, and what they will be learning in the future, and a few individual words about the child and how he participates or she participates in the course. And of course, always letters of encouragement to the parent. Now, there's 2 types of assessment. Some that have reading and writing are together with the listening and speaking assessment, and some which are just listening and speaking, because in some cases the child won't yet be reading and writing in English. Now, the listening is really easy. All the kids do it together. They hear what you say. Pen and paper, pencil and paper, they write down the answers on the assessment. Same with reading and writing. They read, they write, no problem. Your problem comes when we get to the speaking assessment. Whoa, how do you do that? Even with 6 or 8 kids in a group, that's hefty. It takes you 2 or 3 minutes to assess the speaking of each kid. Let's say, and then they've got to come and they've got to sit down, they've got to do 3 times 8, 24. It's going to take you half an hour to assess all the kids in that group. So speaking. So what do you do? Well, first of all, in future assessments, we've made a point here of only having 2 speaking assessments a year and not 4. All the other assessments will have always the listening, or the listening and the reading and the writing, but only twice a year will we also be doing speaking, because it's just too much otherwise. There's a few possibilities. One is at the beginning of every lesson, the end of every lesson, you catch the kid for a few words of speaking before the lesson begins, and just after the lesson, then you have a normal lesson in the beginning. You could have a lesson where somebody came in and played games with the kids where you assess them individually. There's different ways of doing it, and I do not have the perfect solution for it. I would love you to write in and tell me what your solutions are for this, because we're finding it difficult to fit it in if you are a learning centre teacher who doesn't have the time to fit it in around the lessons. At home, I guess possibly you would have more time to do so. There are a few solutions, as I said. One is 1 or 2 assessments before the lesson, 1 or 2 assessments after the lesson, or someone helping you during the lesson. But the speaking assessments are twice a year, and they're well worth doing. So let us know how you've been managing them. Another question that arose is, what do we base our assessments on? What are they going towards? We base them on the format of the Cambridge test. So actually, all our kids, while they do assessments, are actually preparing for the relevant level of Cambridge exam. So it could actually be seen as Cambridge preparation. So if you do Cambridge exams, these assessments are very important and they should be done very regularly. We'd love to hear your feedback on assessments and how you manage them and what you do with them. They're important. Parents expect to get feedback. Some countries place more importance on it than others. In some areas, parents, they don't care. In some areas, they do care. But in all cases, the assessment's very, very healthy for you to see where the children are and how well they're doing. Send us in letters about your experience with assessments. We'd love to hear them. All the very best. Bye.